want you to hit me as hard as you can.
The name's Moore. Roger Moore. The man who took James Bond in a fresh direction and shook, not stirred, the franchise into a new era through equal parts stellar and embarrassing. Moore staked his place as one of the most memorable Bonds in the franchise's history. With an undeniable on-screen charm, humor, and admirable humanitarian contributions, Moore was widely respected both in the arts and society. We remember Roger Moore. Roger George Moore was born on October 14, 1927 in London, relocating later due to World War II. Moore initially studied animation, but was soon canned from accidentally destroying numerous cells. But the cinematic arts wouldn't stray far. As the story goes, he met director Brian Desmond Hurst, who later helmed 1951's Scrooge with Alastair Sim, when his police officer father was investigating a break-in at Hurst's home. The director tossed the still teen a background role in 1945's Caesar and Cleopatra, believing in him so much that he later financed Moore's studies at London's famed Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. As World War II erupted, Moore joined the Royal Army Service Corps, making his way to captain. He would be active as a leader of the Combined Services Entertainment, the British counterpart to the United States USO, which served to entertain troops. Thanks for watching We Remember. If you enjoy our shows, please subscribe to our channel right now, like this video, and click on the bell so you can be notified each time a new video goes up. Now, back to the show. Moore made do with small, uncredited roles on screens both big and small, in addition to print ads. After signing a contract with MGM in 1954, Moore finally started getting screen credit and working under major Hollywood names like Elizabeth Taylor, Lana Turner, and Glenn Ford. As the 50s waned, and with television long solidifying itself as a medium with staying power, Moore landed the role of Ivanhoe on the eponymous British series. Moore had numerous one-offs on various anthology series, but Ivanhoe helped him get a contract at Warner Brothers. Although he would later call it my most appalling television series ever, Moore's starring role on Western series The Alaskans led to a breakout on iconic series Maverick. On it, he essentially replaced James Garner, turning up for 16 episodes in a role originally offered to Sean Connery. What? Did Connery have something else in mind in the early 60s? But Moore's biggest television role would come in 1962, the same year Connery first portrayed James Bond. For its entire 6-season, 118-episode run, Moore played rich Robin Hood type Simon Templar on the UK series The Saint. Indeed, the character, demeanor, mannerisms, and undeniable charm play like an audition for Bond. The series, which was popular enough to have its own fan club, led to roles in 1969's The Cross Plot and 1970's The Man Who Haunted Himself, a psychologically driven role that Moore later cited as the one he was most proud of. Quote, "It was a film I actually got to act in," unquote. Still, the self-deprecating Moore was a subpar actor by his own admission, saying, quote, "I've never had a part that demands much of me," unquote, noting his eyebrows did most of the heavy lifting. From there came The Persuaders alongside Tony Curtis. The action comedy made Moore the highest paid TV actor in the world, but Curtis got to kiss Marilyn Monroe, so who really came out on top? Following Sean Connery's official departure from the James Bond series with 1971's Diamonds Are Forever, there was an open spot for the next 007. And since Eon certainly wasn't going back with George Lazenby, the door was wide open for Moore. And why not? He already played the spy on British sketch comedy series Mainly Millicent in 1964. At 45, Moore was, and remains, the oldest actor to be cast as James Bond. Take also into account that Connery was 41 when he retired from the gig. Moore would also play the role 7 times, a singular record if you don't count Connery's non-Eon Never Say Never Again. Moore's tenure began with 1973's Live and Let Die, far from widely praised, but at least let Moore get his footing. Next was 1974's The Man with the Golden Gun, which Time magazine criticized Moore for, saying he lacks all Connery's strengths and has several deep deficiencies. Moore turned that criticism around completely with 1977's The Spy Who Loved Me, which wasn't just named by Moore as his personal favorite, but received overall praise and ranks as one of the best entries of the franchise's 60-year history. Of personal note, the year after The Spy Who Loved Me's release, Moore went into a self-imposed tax exile, citing exorbitant income taxes on high earners. Interestingly, the likes of Sean Connery, 4-time Bond director Guy Hamilton, frequent series composer John Barry, and Goldfinger singer Shirley Bassey also went into a similar exile, making tax evasion as much of a Bond tradition as a shaken, not stirred martini. While Moore would skip off to Switzerland, Bond would go to outer space. No, really, like outer space. In 1979's ridiculously over-the-top Star Wars capitalization attempt, Moonraker, undoubtedly one of the franchise's low points. Around the time of For Your Eyes Only, Moore was starting to age out of the role. This is, of course, suggesting he was age appropriate for Live and Let Die. As such, Eon began considering other actors for the role. Michael Billington, Lewis Collins, Michael Jaston, who later voiced Bond in a radio production of You Only Live Twice, and Timothy Dalton, who would succeed Moore with 1987's The Living Daylights. Moore was rightfully pissed that producers were going behind his back, but was coerced into staying on. Next came 1983's Octopussy, with Moore competing against another Bond movie at the box office, the non-Eon Never Say Never Again, starring Connery. Octopussy came out of the gate in June and bested Never Say Never Again's October box office by more than $20 million. Moore's final outing as 007 came with 1985's A View to a Kill. As Moore put it, quote, "I was only about 400 years too old for the part," unquote. That's quite old, especially by Hollywood standards. Actually nearly 60, Moore ended his 12-year reign, a feat bested only by Daniel Craig. Roger Moore's legacy as James Bond is one up for debate, but he deserves his place for making the character his own and taking him on signature departures. He wasn't a Connery knockoff or an inadvertent spoof, but an exclusive interpretation. Moore wanted to show, quote, Bond as a lover. Sean was a killer. I was a lover, unquote. It, too, was harnessed in more humorous elements. He could be a tough guy, but he was also quite goofy and didn't expect the audience to take the fare too seriously. Whether at the number one spot of your top Bonds or not, Moore irrefutably made his incarnation distinct. During his run, Moore starred in Forgettable Fare, thriller Gold, Italian crime flick Street People, and war adventurer Shout at the Devil. There was, at least, the Cannonball Run, which let him have a little more fun with the Bond persona. Moore even made a pit stop to play two other iconic characters, Sherlock Holmes in Sherlock Holmes in New York, and a cameo as Inspector Clouseau in Curse of the Pink Panther, though he went credited as the very porn-sounding Turk Thrust II. Moore took a 5-year hiatus after Bond, turning out fare you probably never heard of: Fire, Ice, and Dynamite, Bullseye, and The Man Who Wouldn't Die, which at least sounds like a Bond title. The rest of his career would find him in movies like Spice World, earning a Razzie nomination, and Boat Trip, but he mostly focused on voice work. Two had trivia-worthy ties to his most famous roles: 1997's The Saint, a take on the Simon Templar character Moore played in his own 1960s TV series, and sequel Cats and Dogs, The Revenge of Kitty Galore, playing Tab Lazenby, a clear play on fellow Bond